The following morning, the atmosphere at the outpost was calm but cautious. The battle had left everyone exhausted, but a new sense of unity had emerged. Soldiers who once doubted Kayla now greeted her warmly, acknowledging the bravery she showed. During the attack, Kayla felt grateful, appreciating the newfound respect and friendship. Daniel woke early as usual, ensuring Kayla was comfortable and had everything she needed. He noticed her confidence had grown significantly. Daniel felt proud of her strength and courage. Seeing clearly the positive changes within the outpost since her arrival, Captain Williams soon approached Daniel and Kayla with important news. Due to Kayla's brave actions, her presence had attracted the attention of higher authorities. Representatives from both human and alien factions wanted to discuss peace negotiations. Using her example as proof that cooperation was possible, Kayla listened closely, feeling hopeful yet slightly nervous. She understood the importance of these negotiations, knowing they could help stop the fighting between her people and the humans. Daniel reassured her gently, offering encouragement and support. He promised to be by her side during every step of the negotiations. Preparations for the meeting began immediately. Kayla was taught basic human customs and etiquette to make the meeting smoother. Daniel patiently guided her, carefully explaining every step. Kayla eagerly learned, determined to represent both herself and Daniel's kindness well as they prepared. Daniel noticed Kayla seemed thoughtful and quiet. He gently asked if something was troubling her. Kayla explained her worry about being unable to communicate fully with her own people during negotiations. Daniel comforted her warmly, reassuring her that translators would help and promising to be her support. Soon, the day of the meeting arrived. A special area in the outpost was arranged for the important discussion. Both human and alien representatives arrived, filling the room with tension, but also cautious optimism. Daniel stood beside Kayla, offering silent reassurance and strength. It was Kayla's turn to speak. She stood confidently, recalling everything Daniel taught her. She explained her experiences clearly, emphasizing Daniel's kindness, compassion, and bravery. She described how his actions showed her that peace and friendship were possible, despite their differences. The representatives listened carefully, moved by her honest and heartfelt words. Kayla's bravery, combined with Daniel's compassion, created a powerful message of unity and hope. Discussions continued throughout the day, gradually becoming more positive and collaborative. By evening, significant progress was made. Both sides agreed to halt fighting temporarily, opening doors for further peaceful negotiations. Kayla felt immense relief and pride, knowing her experiences had made a real difference. Daniel shared her joy, proud of what they had accomplished together. After the meeting, many soldiers gathered around Kayla, congratulating her and expressing their gratitude. Kayla felt deeply touched by their kindness, understanding how far they had come from initial mistrust to genuine friendship and respect. She thanked them sincerely, emphasizing how grateful she was for Daniel's constant support. Later, Daniel and Kayla walked together quietly, reflecting on the successful meeting. Daniel gently praised her courage, telling her how proud he was of her. Kayla smiled warmly, feeling deeply thankful for everything he had done for her. As night approached, the outpost began to relax fully for the first time in days. Soldiers talked and laughed together, sharing stories and hopes for the future. Daniel and Kayla joined them, enjoying the atmosphere of genuine peace and friendship. Before resting, Daniel once again checked Kayla's injuries, pleased to see her fully healed. Kayla thanked him warmly, deeply appreciating all his care and attention. Daniel smiled gently, reminding her that their friendship had been a mutual gift, benefiting both of them greatly. That night, Kayla lay quietly, thinking about everything they had been through together. She knew Daniel's bravery and compassion had changed her life forever. His actions taught her the importance of kindness and understanding, even in the hardest circumstances. Daniel also lay awake briefly, feeling deeply grateful for having met Kayla. Their shared journey had shown him how powerful compassion could be, even in times of conflict. He felt proud knowing their friendship had brought about such positive changes. Both Daniel and Kayla fell asleep peacefully, comforted by the knowledge that their courage and kindness had made a real difference. They knew challenges still lay ahead, but their bond and friendship provided them strength and hope for whatever the future might hold. Daniel woke early the next morning, eager to ensure Kayla was comfortable. The outpost was quiet, but Daniel sensed underlying tension among the soldiers. Not everyone was happy about Kayla's presence. Despite their doubts, Daniel remained firm in his conviction that helping Kayla was right. He quickly prepared breakfast, making sure it was nourishing for her recovery. Kayla woke soon after, feeling more energetic and stronger. Daniel greeted her warmly, offering her food and water. Kayla smiled gratefully, clearly appreciating his kindness. She ate quietly, observing the soldiers around her carefully. Although some stared at her suspiciously, she felt safe knowing Daniel was near. After breakfast, Daniel continued treating Kayla's injuries. He carefully cleaned and rebandaged her wounds, pleased to see significant improvement. Kayla patiently allowed him to tend to her. Understanding how important it was to trust him fully, Daniel spent time teaching Kayla more words from his language, enabling better communication between them. Kayla eagerly learned, quickly picking up new words and phrases. Her curiosity and intelligence impressed Daniel, strengthening their bond further. As midday approached, Daniel's superior officer, Captain Williams, approached them. He spoke firmly, though respectfully, reminding Daniel of the risks involved in harboring an alien from an enemy faction. Daniel listened patiently, then calmly explained again his belief that compassion and understanding were crucial, even during conflict. Captain Williams sighed deeply, recognizing Daniel's determination. Though concerned, he respected Daniel's integrity and allowed Kayla to remain. However, he warned Daniel to ensure Kayla stayed within the boundaries of the outpost and away from sensitive areas. Daniel agreed, understanding clearly the responsibilities he had taken upon himself. After the conversation, Daniel showed Kayla around parts of the outpost she was allowed to visit. Soldiers gradually became more curious about her rather than hostile. A few even approached cautiously, asking Daniel questions about Kayla and her home world. Daniel patiently explained, helping to ease their concerns. During their exploration, Kayla encountered Sergeant Lisa, a medic who worked closely with Daniel. Lisa was initially wary, but gradually warmed up to Kayla as she observed Daniel's trust in her. Lisa offered assistance with Kayla's medical care, easing some of Daniel's responsibilities. Kayla felt grateful, appreciating Lisa's willingness to trust her. By evening, Kayla had become more familiar with several soldiers at the outpost. They began to see her as a fellow survivor rather than just an enemy. Daniel felt proud and relieved, knowing his efforts to foster understanding were working. However, peace did not last long. Just as night approached, an alarm sounded urgently throughout the outpost. Enemy forces had been spotted nearby, apparently preparing for an attack. Soldiers quickly took positions, preparing to defend their territory. Daniel immediately moved Kayla to a secure room, ensuring she was safe. Kayla watched anxiously as soldiers rushed around, preparing for battle. She felt helpless, wishing she could contribute somehow. Daniel assured her calmly, promising to return as soon as possible. As Daniel joined his fellow soldiers outside, Kayla remained alone, filled with worry for Daniel's safety. The sounds of battle soon echoed through the outpost, making her anxious and fearful. Despite her own safety, she could not stop thinking about Daniel risking his life once again. Minutes felt like hours as Kayla waited anxiously. Finally, unable to remain passive, she decided to help. She knew the terrain well and believed she could offer valuable assistance. Carefully, Kayla exited the secure room, quickly locating Captain Williams, offer her help. At first hesitant, Captain Williams soon realized Kayla's knowledge could be crucial. He quickly allowed her to guide them through hidden paths and strategies to avoid enemy traps and ambush. Kayla confidently led them, helping the human soldiers gain a significant advantage. Thanks to Kayla's guidance, The soldiers managed to defend the outpost effectively, forcing the enemy to retreat. Daniel returned safely, relieved to see Kayla, unharmed and actively helping. He smiled warmly, deeply proud of her bravery and determination. That night, soldiers gathered around Kayla, expressing gratitude and respect for her courage and help. Kayla felt deeply moved by their kindness, knowing she had finally been accepted fully. Daniel watched quietly, feeling immense pride and happiness. When everyone eventually dispersed, Daniel sat beside Kayla, offering her water and food. They spoke quietly, appreciating each other's courage and companionship. Daniel expressed how proud he was of her bravery, and Kayla gratefully acknowledged his support and kindness. Kayla realized that her presence had not only helped defend the outpost, but had also built bridges of trust and understanding. She knew Daniel had risked everything to save her, and she promised herself to continue spreading compassion, just as he had shown her as they finally rested. Both Daniel and Kayla felt hopeful and deeply grateful for the friendship they had formed, knowing they had truly made a difference together. Daniel and Kayla woke early in the morning, the soft golden rays of the sun gently breaking through the leaves of the trees. They both knew that this day would be challenging. They had to reach the human outpost before nightfall. Daniel carefully checked Kayla's wounds again, making sure they were healing properly. She felt much better, stronger, and more determined as they set off once more. Kayla pointed out safer paths, guiding Daniel through hidden trails that were less likely to attract enemy patrols. She moved steadily, grateful for Daniel's constant support. Her confidence was growing, thanks to Daniel's kindness and care. After several hours, they came across an abandoned building. It was partially hidden by thick bush and tall grass. Daniel decided they should rest briefly inside. He carefully led Kayla into the shelter, scanning the area to ensure it was safe. Inside, the building was quiet and cool, providing relief from the day's growing heat. Daniel quickly checked the surroundings again, making sure no enemies were nearby. Once satisfied, he offered Kayla some water and food. They sat quietly together, appreciating this moment of calm and safety. Kayla looked around thoughtfully, then reached into her pocket and pulled out her pendant again. She held it out towards Daniel, gently placing it in his hand. Daniel understood this was a special gift, a sign of deep gratitude. He smiled warmly, nodding his head to express how honored he felt. Kayla smiled back, feeling a deeper bond forming. Between them, their peaceful moment was interrupted suddenly by noises outside the building. Daniel and Kayla quickly moved to a corner, hiding quietly behind some old furniture. Enemy voices were close and clear, indicating the patrol had discovered their hiding place. Daniel quickly planned their escape. He signaled Kayla to remain quiet and stay close behind him. As soon as the patrol entered from the front, Daniel and Kayla carefully slipped out the back door, moving silently and swiftly through the dense vegetation. Once clear of the immediate danger, Daniel paused to ensure Kayla was safe and unharmed. She looked frightened but determined. Daniel reassured her calmly, gently encouraging her to keep moving. They pressed onward, now more cautious and alert than ever. Hours passed as they carefully navigated the increasingly difficult terrain. Steep hills and dense forests made their journey challenging. Daniel stayed close, helping Kayla through difficult paths, providing constant reassurance and support. Despite the hardships, their friendship and trust continued to grow stronger. As afternoon approached, they finally spotted the distant outline of the human outpost. Daniel felt a wave of relief, knowing they were close to safety. However, he also understood the challenges that awaited them there. He knew his superiors might be angry about his actions, bringing an alien from an enemy group into the outpost. When they finally reached the outpost, Daniel carefully approached the gate, signaling the guards calmly. He explained briefly why Kayla was with him. The guards were hesitant, but respected Daniel and allowed them to enter. Though clearly uncomfortable about it. Inside the outpost, Daniel immediately faced criticism from his superior officers. They questioned his judgment, reminding him of the HFY strict rules forbidding interaction with enemy factions. Daniel stood firm, calmly and clearly explaining that compassion and humanity were more important than strict adherence to rules. Kayla stood quietly beside Daniel, unsure of the situation, but understanding that Daniel was protecting her once again. She watched with admiration and gratitude as Daniel confidently defended his choice, emphasizing that every life deserved respect and care. Eventually, Daniel's superiors agreed to allow Kayla to stay temporarily. They warned Daniel that he was responsible for her actions and well-being. Daniel nodded confidently, promising to ensure her safety and integration. Daniel quickly found a comfortable space for Kayla to rest and continued treating her injuries. He made sure she was comfortable, offering her water, food, and warmth. Kayla felt safe, grateful for Daniel's unwavering kindness and protection. Despite the challenges they faced within the outpost, Daniel and Kayla's friendship continued to grow stronger. Daniel taught Kayla basic words in his language, helping her communicate better with those around her. Kayla eagerly learned, wanting to understand more about Daniel's world. Throughout the evening, Daniel and Kayla spent time together, talking and learning from each other. Their connection was clear to everyone at the outpost. Gradually, even those who initially distrusted Kayla began to see her as more than an enemy. They saw the positive impact of Daniel's compassion, realizing that kindness could build bridges even in times of conflict. By nightfall, Kayla felt deeply thankful for Daniel's bravery, kindness, and friendship. She knew she was safe now, thanks to his courage and determination. With renewed hope and trust, Kayla closed her eyes, finally able to rest peacefully, knowing she was no longer alone. Daniel and Kayla moved carefully through the dense forest, the sunlight gently filtering through leaves overhead. The daylight provided some comfort, easing the tension they felt throughout the night. Kayla's strength slowly improved, thanks to Daniel's careful treatment and rest. However, they both remained cautious, knowing danger still surrounded them. Kayla watched Daniel closely as they walked, noticing his attention to every sound and movement in the forest. She admired how he stayed calm and focused, reassuring her. With his quiet determination, he checked the path ahead carefully, helping her navigate safely through uneven ground and thick underbrush. As the hours passed, Kayla grew more curious about Daniel and his life. She pointed toward herself and tried speaking slowly, indicating her interest in learning about him. Daniel understood her intent, smiling warmly and gently began sharing about his world and experiences, using simple words and gestures. Through their basic communication, Kayla learned Daniel was from Earth, a planet far away, where he had spent his life helping others as a medic. Their conversation was interrupted suddenly by a distant noise. Daniel immediately stopped, signaling Kayla to remain silent. The sound was unmistakably voices of an enemy patrol nearby. They quickly found cover behind a large rock, remaining perfectly still. Kayla's heart raced, anxiety rising, but Daniel's steady breathing and calm presence reassured her. From their hiding place, they observed the enemy soldiers carefully. The patrol moved slowly, searching the area thoroughly for any survivors. The enemy soldiers looked fierce and intimidating, armed heavily. Daniel remained motionless, patiently waiting for the soldiers to move on. After what felt like an eternity, the patrol finally left. Daniel waited a bit longer to ensure they were completely safe, then gently helped Kayla to her feet. They quickly moved forward, eager to put distance between themselves and any further threat. Soon after, Daniel realized they needed more water and food to continue their journey. He carefully guided Kayla toward a small stream flowing through the forest, hidden beneath thick trees and tall grass. Daniel filled their water containers and offered Kayla more food, ensuring she regained strength for the journey ahead. While resting by the stream, Daniel carefully checked Kayla's wounds. Once again, he was pleased to see her injuries healing well, thanks to his diligent care. Kayla watched him attentively, deeply grateful for his kindness and compassion, knowing she would never have survived without him. As they continued their journey, Kayla began pointing out safe paths and hidden trails she knew from childhood. Her local knowledge proved valuable, allowing them to avoid more patrols and reach safer areas quickly. Daniel appreciated her help, smiling gratefully and thanking her warmly. Gradually, a strong friendship developed between Daniel and Kayla. They communicated with simple words, gestures, and expressions, slowly overcoming the language barrier. Kayla felt increasingly comfortable and secure, deeply respecting Daniel's bravery and kindness. At sunset, they reached another safe spot, hidden beneath tall, protective trees. Daniel quickly made a small camp, carefully preparing their resting place. Kayla sat down beside him, tired but feeling hopeful. Daniel shared his food again, smiling warmly as they ate together quietly. During their meal, Kayla decided to share a little about herself. She pointed toward the stars and spoke slowly, explaining how her planet was beautiful, filled with peaceful landscapes and wonderful people. She showed Daniel a small pendant she wore, something from her family indicating its importance to her. Daniel listened attentively, understanding her message clearly through her actions and expressions. He smiled reassuringly, showing her that he appreciated her trust and openness. Their bond deepened, built on mutual respect and the shared experience of survival. After eating, Daniel ensured Kayla was comfortable and safe. He carefully checked their surroundings one final time, ensuring there were no hidden threats. Finally, he settled beside Kayla, offering another reassuring smile. Kayla felt a deep sense of safety beside him, knowing Daniel would protect her. As darkness fell once more, Kayla thought deeply about everything that had happened. Despite the danger, she realized she was lucky to have met someone as compassionate as Daniel. He had not only saved her life, but also taught her the value of trust and kindness. She promised herself that one day, if she had the chance, she would tell everyone about the brave human medic who chose compassion and kindness over conflict and fear. With this comforting thought, Kayla closed her eyes, finally allowing herself to rest, secure in the knowledge that she was no longer alone. Daniel and Kayla moved slowly through the darkness, leaving behind the smoldering battlefield. Kayla was weak, her steps uncertain. Daniel carefully guided her, offering his support to keep her steady. Every now and then he would pause, checking their surroundings cautiously. The area was still dangerous, filled with potential threats from lingering enemy patrols. The night air grew colder, making Kayla shiver. Noticing her discomfort, Daniel gently wrapped his spare jacket around her shoulders, careful not to aggravate her injuries. Kayla felt warmth not only from the jacket, but also from Daniel's kindness, something she had rarely experienced from outsiders. As they journeyed, Kayla observed Daniel quietly. She wondered why he had risked so much for her, an alien from an enemy side. Her people had always described humans as selfish and cruel, but Daniel seemed very different from that description. Her curiosity about him grew with every step. After hours of careful walking, Daniel found a secluded spot hidden beneath the dense branches of a fallen tree. Deciding it was safe enough for a short rest, he gently helped Kayla sit down. He gave her some water and a little food from his pack. Although tired and aching, Kayla ate gratefully, appreciating his generosity. Daniel checked Kayla's wounds again, making sure they were healing and not becoming infected. His movements were careful and gentle. Kayla watched him closely, impressed by how calm and focused he remained despite the danger they faced. "You're very brave," Daniel said softly, smiling at her warmly. Though Kayla didn't fully understand his language, she sensed his encouragement and kindness. She tried to smile back, showing him that she appreciated his care. After resting for a while, they continued their journey. The terrain became rougher, with steep hills and thick forests making their progress slow and difficult. Daniel helped Kayla climb over fallen branches and navigate slippery rocks. His patience and support gave her strength to keep moving forward. Suddenly, in the distance, Daniel saw lights flashing through the trees. His heart skipped a beat as he realized They were enemy patrols, still searching for survivors. He quickly signaled Kayla to stop and crouch low behind some dense bush. Holding their breath, they waited silently as the lights came closer. Sweeping across the forest floor, Kayla felt fear gripping her heart, her body trembling slightly. Daniel gently took her hand, squeezing it reassuringly. His calm presence helped her control her fear. They remained completely still until the patrol passed by without noticing them. After the patrol had moved on, Daniel slowly stood up, checking carefully to ensure it was safe. When he was certain the danger had passed, he signaled Kayla to continue moving. Both of them felt relief wash over them as they moved away from the immediate threat. They walked for several more hours until dawn began to break, casting a pale, gentle light through the trees. Daniel spotted a small cave, sheltered and hidden from view, which seemed like a good place to rest again. He guided Kayla inside, making sure it was safe and dry before settling her down comfortably. Inside the cave, Daniel made a small fire, warming the cold air. He prepared more food and checked Kayla's injuries once again. The cave felt peaceful and secure, a sharp contrast to the chaos and danger they had faced earlier. Kayla finally felt some sense of safety and peace. Kayla tried to communicate with Daniel, pointing to herself and saying her name clearly. "Kayla," she said softly. Daniel smiled and pointed to himself, responding warmly, "Daniel." They repeated their names to each other, creating a connection through their simple exchange. As the morning advanced, Kayla began feeling more comfortable and less afraid. Daniel's kindness and gentle care made her realize that not all humans were dangerous or uncaring. His bravery and selflessness gave her hope that maybe one day their two worlds could understand each other better. With their strength regained somewhat, Daniel and Kayla prepared to continue their journey towards the human outpost. Daniel helped her stand again, and they stepped out of the cave, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their bond was stronger now, built on trust and kindness, and together they were determined to reach safety. Kayla felt gratitude growing inside her, knowing she owed her life to Daniel's bravery and compassion. She silently promised herself that one day she would repay him, no matter the cost. The battlefield on planet Arlonis was filled with smoke, fire, and destruction. Explosions echoed through the darkening skies as soldiers from various alien factions retreated hastily, leaving behind their wounded and dying comrades. Among those left behind was Kayla, a young alien girl who lay motionless amidst the ruins and debris. Her body was injured, her breathing shallow and weak. No one stopped to help. Each fighter cared only for their own survival. Kayla tried to move but couldn't. Her vision was blurry, and pain shot through her limbs. Tears welled up in her eyes. She was scared, alone, and unsure of what would happen next. Around her, the battlefield gradually grew quiet, filled only with distant sounds of retreat and occasional cries from other wounded beings left forgotten far away from the battle lines. At a human outpost, Daniel, a medic known for his kindness and bravery, stood anxiously listening to the distress signals on his communicator. His superiors had given strict instructions. Humans were not allowed to interfere beyond their assigned boundaries. The order was to keep peace at all costs and avoid any further conflict. Yet, as Daniel listened to the distant cries for help, something inside him stirred. He believed deeply that helping others was more important than strict orders or rules set by commanders far away from the suffering. He struggled with his decision briefly, but the choice soon became clear. Daniel quickly grabbed his medical kit, checking his supplies to ensure he had everything necessary. Without hesitation, he quietly left the outpost. Moving quickly toward the dangerous and forbidden battleground, Daniel ran through burnt forests and broken buildings, carefully avoiding detection by enemy soldiers who might still be patrolling. His heart beat rapidly, partly from fear but mostly from determination. He had always dedicated his life to healing and saving lives, no matter whose lives they were. His compassion had no boundaries. After what seemed like hours, Daniel finally reached the battlefield. The scene was even more terrible up close. The ground was covered with the wounded, and the air was thick with the scent of smoke and devastation. Daniel moved cautiously, scanning for signs of life. His eyes suddenly caught sight of Kayla, her fragile body barely moving as she lay among scattered weapons and shattered armor. Quickly, Daniel approached her and knelt down beside her gently. He carefully checked her injuries, speaking softly, to reassure her, even though he knew she might not understand his language. Kayla flinched at first, afraid, but Daniel's calm voice and gentle touch slowly reassured her. He began cleaning her wounds carefully, using the medical supplies he had brought with him. Kayla watched him with wide, frightened eyes, unsure if this strange human truly wanted to help or if it was some sort of trap. Gradually, as Daniel continued to care for her injuries, Kayla felt safer, sensing genuine kindness and compassion from him. "You're going to be all right," Daniel said softly, his voice steady and reassuring. "I'll get you out of here. I promise." Kayla couldn't understand the words fully, but his tone conveyed trust and hope. Slowly, she nodded, letting him help her sit up cautiously. Daniel gave her water, which she drank eagerly, easing her dry throat. He gently bandaged her wounds, making sure she was stable enough to move. Nightfall was approaching rapidly, and Daniel knew they had to leave quickly to avoid being discovered by enemy patrols returning to search the battlefield. He carefully helped Kayla stand, supporting her weight gently. They moved slowly at first, Kayla leaning heavily against Daniel, both cautious and silent as they navigated the dangerous terrain together. As they moved away from the battlefield, Kayla felt a deep sense of gratitude and confusion. This human was risking everything, his safety, his position, even his life to save her, an enemy according to the rules of war. She glanced at him often, trying to understand why he had chosen to help her when everyone else had abandoned her. Daniel, sensing her gaze, smiled warmly in return, silently reassuring her. His expression told her more than words ever could. It spoke of compassion, kindness, and the belief that every life mattered, no matter where it came from. Slowly, the two continued their careful journey back toward the human outpost, where Daniel hoped they would find safety. The night grew darker, but their determination and newfound bond lit their way forward, promising hope amid despair. The battlefield on planet Arlonis was filled with smoke, fire, and destruction. Explosions echoed through the darkening skies as soldiers from various alien factions retreated hastily, leaving behind their wounded and dying comrades. Among those left behind was Kayla, a young alien girl who lay motionless amidst the ruins and debris. Her body was injured, her breathing shallow and weak. No one stopped to help. Each fighter cared only for their own survival. Kayla tried to move but couldn't. Her vision was blurry, and pain shot through her limbs. Tears welled up in her eyes. She was scared, alone, and unsure of what would happen next. Around her, the battlefield gradually grew quiet, filled only with distant sounds of retreat and occasional cries from other wounded beings left forgotten. Far away from the battle lines, at a human outpost, Daniel, a medic known for his kindness and bravery, stood anxiously listening to the distress signals on his communicator. His superiors had given strict instructions. Humans were not allowed to interfere beyond their assigned boundaries. The order was to keep peace at all costs and avoid any further conflict. Yet, as Daniel listened to the distant cries for help, something inside him stirred. He believed deeply that helping others was more important than strict orders or rules set by commanders far away from the suffering. He struggled with his decision briefly, but the choice soon became clear. Daniel quickly grabbed his medical kit, checking his supplies to ensure he had everything necessary. Without hesitation, he quietly left the outpost. Moving quickly toward the dangerous and forbidden battleground, Daniel ran through burnt forests and broken buildings, carefully avoiding detection by enemy soldiers who might still be patrolling. His heart beat rapidly, partly from fear but mostly from determination. He had always dedicated his life to healing and saving lives, no matter whose lives they were. His compassion had no boundaries. After what seemed like hours, Daniel finally reached the battlefield. The scene was even more terrible up close. The ground was covered with the wounded, and the air was thick with the scent of smoke and devastation. Daniel moved cautiously, scanning for signs of life. His eyes suddenly caught sight of Kayla, her fragile body barely moving as she lay among scattered weapons and shattered armor. Quickly, Daniel approached her and knelt down beside her gently. He carefully checked her injuries, speaking softly, to reassure her, even though he knew she might not understand his language. Kayla flinched at first, afraid, but Daniel's calm voice and gentle touch slowly reassured her. He began cleaning her wounds carefully, using the medical supplies he had brought with him. Kayla watched him with wide, frightened eyes, unsure if this strange human truly wanted to help or if it was some sort of trap. Gradually, as Daniel continued to care for her injuries, Kayla felt safer, sensing genuine kindness and compassion from him. "You're going to be all right," Daniel said softly, his voice steady and reassuring. "I'll get you out of here. I promise." Kayla couldn't understand the words fully, but his tone conveyed trust and hope. Slowly, she nodded, letting him help her sit up cautiously. Daniel gave her water, which she drank eagerly, easing her dry throat. He gently bandaged her wounds, making sure she was stable enough to move. Nightfall was approaching rapidly, and Daniel knew they had to leave quickly to avoid being discovered by enemy patrols returning to search the battlefield. He carefully helped Kayla stand, supporting her weight gently. They moved slowly at first, Kayla leaning heavily against Daniel, both cautious and silent, as they navigated the dangerous terrain together. As they moved away from the battlefield, Kayla felt a deep sense of gratitude and confusion. This human was risking everything, his safety, his position, even his life, to save her, an enemy according to the rules of war. She glanced at him often, trying to understand why he had chosen to help her when everyone else had abandoned her. Daniel, sensing her gaze, smiled warmly in return, silently reassuring her. His expression told her more than words ever could. It spoke of compassion, kindness, and the belief that every life mattered, no matter where it came from. Slowly, the two continued their careful journey back toward the human outpost, where Daniel hoped they would find safety. The night grew darker, but their determination and newfound bond lit their way forward, promising hope amid despair.